So this has been one of the strangest weeks in gaming news that I think I've been around in a long time, regarding like obviously all the Xbox stuff that's going on, and then the following day, you have Sony's big surprise hit, Helldivers 2, officially coming to Xbox with crossplay and things like that. That's a wild thing, in my opinion. And this is, to be clear, the first Sony published game on Xbox, right? So you might think, oh well, MLB The Show is on Xbox, but that's published by Major League Baseball on Xbox. This is something completely different, and this is certainly a strange thing. I mean, yeah, it's, almost 2 years later, but still a very interesting type situation when you look at everything kind of involved, and you have to wonder. It does raise a lot of questions, but hey, let's get into it. I'm Crab Gamer. This is Crab Gamer Reviews with a interesting video. This is going to be, I'm sure, and I'm very interested to see the comments and things like that, because that could be crazy. But yeah, I do daily gaming content. If you didn't know, I try to cover the latest gaming news, give my personal spin on it, fun yet informative. But anyway, the online co-op shooter, which was released on PS5 and PC last year, will come to Xbox Series X and S on August 26th, according to developer Arrowhead. The game will feature cross-platform play with users on both PlayStation and PC. Both the standard version of the game and the Super Citizen edition of the game are now available for pre-order on Xbox. Quote unquote, we know gamers have been asking for this for some time, and we are excited to bring more Helldivers into our game. We have so much more in store for the future months and years, and the more players we have, the more stories we can tell. The fight for Super Earth has only just begun. So, Helldivers 2 was Sony's biggest hit last year, becoming PlayStation's fastest selling game launch ever, with sales far exceeding expectations at 12 million copies sold on PC and PS5 in the first 12 weeks. As part of its attempt to create more popular live service games, Sony is increasingly launching its online titles, such as the upcoming Marathon, across multiple console platforms. However, that company has indicated that its single-player games will remain exclusive to PlayStation console, with later PC ports to follow. Following the game's launch success, Helldivers 2 director revealed that he'd taken an extended break from the game development before studio works on this next game. Earlier in the year, he said he was already planning Arrowhead's next game, telling players he was working on a high concept and inviting speculation on what it could be. Arrowhead has continued to work on update Helldivers 2 since launch, and they suggested that it will work on the game until it effectively becomes Helldivers 3. Now, here's the interesting thing. When it comes to the games or whatever, right? Like, so Sony owns the IP, even though they don't own the studio, but Sony is publishing it. Now, Sony had owned Death Stranding, the IP, before giving that IP back to Kojima, and then that game got put on Xbox as well. So it's a very strange thing. Marathon, on the other hand, is by Bungie, and before Bungie was bought out, their stipulation to being bought out was indeed, hey, we want to keep our autonomy, and we want to be able to publish on any platform we wish. And I think, Sony agreed to that, obviously, and I think most of all, Sony wanted Bungie's expertise in like multiplayer games and games as a service, because they were going all in on that. So we'll see how that works out, but it's still a confusing thing, in my opinion, the way that they're doing it. And the day that it's releasing is, I think, the same day that Gears of War comes to it comes to the PlayStation. So we'll see what happens there. In terms of what's going on with the interesting thing, it is kind of an interesting shift. It does beg some questions. Obviously with the big news that Helldivers 2 is making its way to Xbox, really super well-regarded multiplayer shooter. Of course, a lot of people wanted it, and we'll see how they react to it. It's like, I guess if people buy it, then hey, good. I have my doubts on whether people buy it or not. But anyway, while Sony developed MLB The Show, and it has appeared on Xbox multiple times, that version of the game was published by MLB The Show, not too dissimilar with something like Death Stranding Director's Cut. With Helldivers 2, though, this is a very different beast, as PlayStation itself is working to fund and publish the Xbox version of the title, which is totally unexpected news. And, does this mean for the future? I don't really know. It really kind of depends. While we wouldn't say that this game in particular will open the floodgates for PlayStation exclusives on Xbox, it at least shows that Sony is willing to work with Microsoft on select games, like it did in the similar with Nintendo last year with Lego Horizon Adventures. And clearly Sony deems Helldivers 2 the perfect opportunity to start working with Xbox. So, it's nice to see that that's kind of rolling a little bit. For what's next, obviously looking at the future of Helldivers 2, is probably safe to assume that Sony is at least considering future live service titles being released on Xbox. Well, they don't even really have that many live service titles to begin with. Concord was a big failure. Marathon's already coming to Xbox, but I don't see that game doing anything in particular. Fair game. Who knows if that game's even going to be released? It looked like ass. It's been in development for a while now, and the head of that studio already dipped out. So we'll see what happens there. Whether that would be a launch or further down the line remains to be seen. But after the failure of Concord, but listen, Concord could have released on Xbox and it wouldn't have made a difference because it was already released on PC and PlayStation and it didn't make a difference. So, I wouldn't count your chickens and thinking that, that we're going to see, Uncharted or God of War or anything like that. I definitely wouldn't count anything like that. I'm kind of surprised that this is happening in the first place. But, again, anything can happen with these things. It is really a strange new time and a strange kind of situation that's happening right now in gaming. So, like I said, I'm not really sure what to make of it. I think that it is a very interesting thing. I think, there's obviously going to be quite a lot of people that think, kind of think that this stuff is happening or whatever the case may be. But, again, like I said, a change is coming. We'll see what happens. I mean, one of the things that could actually help Xbox out is muddying the waters a little bit with this stuff. And, you start to see how this stuff kind of happens, and if Microsoft can be, okay with these things. Like this is the thing, right? And it wouldn't have mattered what if Microsoft was doing some kind of PC box right next. Like, it wouldn't have mattered because nobody's going to spend that much money. Now, I think the part where this can be interesting is if Microsoft has just a regular console and Sony's putting some of their games on Xbox. It does help lessen the blow or whatever the case may be for what's going on. So I think that's something to kind of pay attention to as well in the future. We'll see if this is something that happens. Like, I don't personally think that this is something that we're going to see. Like I said, I wouldn't count on The Last of Us coming to Xbox and things like that. Like, that would really, I think, shoot Sony in the foot. I don't know if they would do that. I mean, they just come out and say, hey, we're not going to, do these things. We're not going to change our strategy. We're not going to do that. So I am kind of surprised that they're bothering to put this game on Xbox. For one big reason is the Xbox install base isn't very big. And so, you look at that and you just go, okay, well, why would they even bother with it? And also, Sony can be incredibly petty with what they do. I mean, they're still buying games to keep off of Xbox in general. And on top of that, they're also doing a situation where even when they did put that Lego Horizon game on, they put that game on Nintendo Switch, but they didn't do it for Xbox. So they tend to do stuff like that, and it is sort of weird to me anyway. But like I said, almost nothing shocks me anymore at this particular point, and we'll see how we'll see how that kind of changes in the future, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's such a strange time for gaming, and with all the stuff that's happening and all the kind of things that are kind of happening, it just does really seem like a really interesting time to cover this kind of stuff. So I'm very curious to hear what everybody has to say about it. But yeah, it is 100% confirmed. It's coming to Xbox, the first Sony published game coming to Xbox. So yeah, we do know that now as well. And again, we'll see if this is something that can change the future. Maybe it does kind of change the future of it or whatever. Maybe it doesn't do anything. Maybe it doesn't open floodgates, but maybe the live service games kind of do that. I don't know. It's for me, I don't know necessarily that the live service games I didn't think Xbox had sold enough to warrant them to make a difference in that, but maybe I was wrong. I certainly was wrong in thinking that the game would never come to Xbox, because that's sure the hell surprised the hell out of me in a good way. But if you guys, it is a fun game, man. I played it on PlayStation 5. It's pretty fun. But let me know if you guys plan on picking it up or not. Thanks for watching. Crap Gamer out.